I have a future self, or more precisely, I have many future selves ahead of me, and I can make deals with them every day. Out of the major futures methods I share in the book, vision writing is the one that I get the biggest amount of feedback about. In vision writing, what you do is you try to get into the perspective of someone in the future. For example, you are interested in how art and culture could be intertwined with artificial intelligence. So you come up with an idea, a future scenario or setting that there is a festival with an art versus AI program, and your job is to write the agenda, come up with ideas about what kind of artists or what kind of AI elements of the program would make sense. And maybe we can even write the opening keynote presentation of the head of this whole organization dealing with art versus AI, and you can write a story. Also, I use the same method as a parent myself. I was thinking about whether I'm doing a good job as a father. We have an 8-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. And my idea was that let's use vision writing. So 10 years later, they are 18 and 11, and they are discussing, they are talking about me as a father. And I have data on that because I have experiences with them day by day. And I started describing probably what are the stories they would love to tell each other about me, which could be the stories that they might tell each other, something like negative aspects of me being a father. So I started getting a picture about what the future of my kids could discuss with each other about me being a father now. And the reason why it was helpful to me is that it gave me some clarity about what kind of experiences I would love to have with them right now, to make sure that in the future, they will discuss things that would at least make me feel like I did a good enough job as a father. And that's why vision writing is not a very, robust or very systematic kind of futures method. Forecasting, scenario analysis, the futures wheel are much more systematic than that. This is more about a narrative storytelling, that I get into the shoes of someone in the future, which is quite an extraordinary experience in itself. And that's why I was surprised in the first weeks after releasing the book that I thought the best I can do as a futurist is to translate a few basic futures methods into a language everyone can understand. But I started getting feedback from readers about not even talking about the methods, but the psychology, the section or the chapter about the psychology of futures thinking, because they found the concept of the future self to be far more practical than any of those futures methods. I was absolutely caught by surprise by that. What they meant, as I asked them to describe, was that just knowing that I have a future self, or more precisely, I have many future selves ahead of me, and I can make deals with them every day. Like, I go to the gym today and I have so many things to do, but I will still go to the gym. And when I do that, I had this concept in mind that to myself in the tomorrow, myself in 5 years, they would love me for this decision. They would hug me and thank me that I still went to the gym for their sake. I didn't want to go that day, but for their sake specifically, I still did that. So actually, every day I started using that method years ago, that when I make a decision, like when I respond to an invitation, I have a quick discussion with my future self, or when I have many tasks to fulfill on that day, I start making a deal with my future self. Look, I cannot do all these tasks myself today without you tomorrow. I cannot give all of these to you, of course, that would not be fair, but I will take, 75% of them, but the rest will stay with you tomorrow. Deal? And then we go forward. And as I get into the tomorrow and for the next days, and I become that future self, at least I knew what kind of deal I could strike with my past self. Just one last story about this. Our daughter just got braces. And of course, she was worried about the whole process. It will take 1.5, 2 years. But I told her that just for a second, please think about your teenager self, who will be so grateful to you with a perfect smile and a healthy oral health that you did that sacrifice for her. And just when it's a bit harder to deal with the braces and all the things that come with that day by day, just for a second, please think about that teenager self who loves you for your decision and for your struggles today. And she told me she still had struggles a few days over the last 1.5 years, but every time her future self came into mind, and it sort of helped soothe her soul a little bit and it felt a bit better. So that's how not just the methods, but maybe even the psychological concepts in the book can help. And there's one last thing here. I got a third kind of feedback about the book. It was about the games. I thought just for fun, I would include a few games like at the very end, maybe as a form of like a source of ideas for teachers who want to bring futures thinking into the classroom. And people love that. One is called Stomp the Futurist, in which there are two teams. One team has to come up with concepts that they think would definitely not change even a decade from today. Maybe if they're interested in transportation, they could say that even 10 years from now, everybody who wants to will have to learn how to drive a car. And then the other team's job is to go online, use generative AI, and find weak signals, do horizon scanning and find technological trends or cultural announcements or government officials' opinions that would contradict that belief that these things will certainly stay the same. It doesn't matter who will be right 10 years from now. What matters is that these people actively engage in futures thinking by doing this game or exercise, and by spending more time thinking about the future, they will be culturally and emotionally simply better prepared for whatever is coming next.